What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome once, welcome twice, welcome three times just to say it's nice. What's good, family? What's good? How you feeling out there? This is the Light Body Podcast. I'm your host, Clyde Rush, and this is episode number two. Episode number two. I cannot believe how fast time is going and how quickly we got here. It seems like I just did the first one. Well, it was about a week ago, but it's actually 2 weeks ago. I was trying to do this thing every Sunday, at least once per week, but I have to stay committed and just understand. Last week I was away, took care of some business and whatnot. I had a fabulous opportunity, met some amazing people. I'll talk about that later on as time goes on, but I just want to stay committed. Um, I'd like to do somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes of this and just kind of get the information out and let folks know what's actually going on and just share more about what the light body experience is all about. And to start off with, I'm glad you came back. Number one, I'm just glad you came back to see what's actually going on with this light body experience. What I want to make sure is clear is that everybody's experience is unique, is special, and is different according to who it is that you are and your purpose. It's unique, it's different, just like your fingerprint has a unique signature to it. Those waves and those lines and the grooves inside your fingerprint is unique to you. Nobody else has that. The same way it is with your light body experience. There's no one size fits all. It just doesn't work like that. And the reason why it doesn't work like that is because we all have different experiences that got us from where we were to where we're going. And it's important to understand that in the very beginning of this thing, like I was saying, it was me, myself. I didn't think there was anybody else that could understand what it was that I was talking about. You feel a little isolated. Sometimes you can feel alone. Sometimes you can feel lonely. That wasn't necessarily my case per se, but I did feel like nobody really understood what it was that I was experiencing, what it was that I was doing. I don't know whether people felt uncomfortable sharing the fact that they were going through this type of experience or what it actually meant. Today, I'm just going to keep it simple. There is a PDF that I actually have. I said I was going to put the link down in the bottom for it. And yeah, if you request it, I'll definitely send it to you. I just want to make sure everybody gets the information that they want so that they can get a clearer understanding. I mean, there are three different types of learners. There's an auditory person who has to hear things. There's a visual learner. And then there's the tactile person, the one that actually has to feel it in their hands. They have to kind of see it and read it. So I want to make sure I cover those and make sure that everybody gets the information in as required. Or what's the best way for their particular body style or their mindset. So today, I'm just going to talk about 3 or 4 things, maybe 5, if we can get to it, as long as I stay on task, and talk about, in simple terms, the light body is a concept from spirituality and metaphysics. Spirituality and metaphysics. So I'm just going to read this real quick, and then I'll expand on a little bit more. It's like an invisible energy version of yourself that some people believe exists alongside of your physical body. The energy body is thought to represent your higher consciousness and can be associated with feelings of enlightenment, well-being, and spiritual growth. People may work on developing their light body through practices like meditation to achieve a sense of higher inner peace and higher awareness. Now, what does that all mean? One, some people have a conflict with meditation and prayer. That's up to you. And that's more or less a choice that everyone has to make. If you can sit down and understand what meditation is, and you can sit down and understand what prayer is, it's fine. If you want to call meditation prayer, call it prayer. If you want to call prayer meditation, call it what you need to call it. The bottom line is just to do it. And it's the point for me calling it the meditation is that oneness. It's that stillness, it's that silence, it's that solitude. When I'm in meditation, it's about me shutting off all of the external information that's coming at me. Of course, we have 5 gates: see, hear, smell, taste, touch. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. And that's in this realm of understanding. So information comes in through those different gates that we actually have. On a higher plane, we take the see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and we go to intuition, perception, will, reason, memory. those are the higher degrees of consciousness. When we move from see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and we go into the higher degree of consciousness, we understand things from our perception, our intuition, our reason, our memory, and our will. That's what the light body experience will actually do. Of course, we can't see air. We can only feel the air. And basically what this light body experience is it sensitizes you to the feeling. Thoughts become things, which is absolutely true, no question about that. But what would happen if your sensibility, your sense of awareness, which is now heightened, impacted your state of consciousness? It impacted your state of awareness, your perception, your reason, your memory, your will. Now you're not going along the lines of see, hear, smell, taste, touch were very important to use until you can get to that state of higher consciousness, which is about intuition, memory, reason, will, and understanding what those faculties actually mean. How do they resonate with who it is that I am on that higher degree of consciousness? Well, here's the thing. People, places, and things, situations and circumstances, adversities, oppositions, and challenges. Challenges challenge us to be more than who we were because we get the opportunity to change through the challenge. We get the opportunity to change through the challenge. And oftentimes, based on your belief system, which is something else that changes with the light body experience and awakening and activation, when you go through that light body awakening, it's different for each person. You come into an alignment and a greater degree of understanding, significance, and purpose. Like we all have significance, we all have purpose for actually existing at this time, space, and place. All right. What ends up happening is you start to understand more and you start to see patterns of recognition. You start to see patterns of recognition. It's sort of like being here, but knowing you're from there. It's being here and knowing you're from there. There's an awakening that actually happens where you start to remember subtly. And I say subtly because if you remember all that you actually knew, I couldn't even tell you what would actually happen to you because it would be different for each person. But what I do know is this. Some things were erased from our memory, okay? And this school that we actually have here, this Earth School, we call it Earth School, is to teach you certain things out of our experiences that we've gone through. Let's say we're growing through the experiences. And there were certain nuances, certain situations, certain occurrences that actually happen that'll lead you along the way to keep you to continue on. We identify those as synchronicities. We identify them as serendipitous moments on a higher conscious level. All right. Some people call them coincidences. There are no coincidences. Everything happens at a specific time, place, for a specific reason, and that's to get you from where you are to where you are to go. What am I saying? As I said, this higher degree of consciousness means you have a higher state of awareness, okay? If you go about doing the same things the same way, expecting a different result, you're insane. So whatever situation or circumstance or problem was created on, you've got to take a higher degree of consciousness, a higher degree of awareness, a higher degree of perception to solve that problem. No problem is ever solved on the same level that it was created on. You have to go above it to see the solution and implement that solution on top of the problem. How does that regulate to the light body experience? Well, some people decide to resist the light, the higher degree of consciousness, and they tend to perpetuate the same patterns mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and even physically within the body. So if you continuously do the same pattern, then why are you asking yourself the question about why am I doing this? Why am I doing that when you continuously do the same thing? If you want the same outcome, then of course you keep doing the same thing. But if you want a different outcome, if you want things to change, if you want the betterment and the fulfillment of the desires of your heart, it's going to require a different mindset. It's going to require you to do things quite differently than you've done it before, which means you've got to change your identity. When you change your identity, your models of reality change, your systems of operation change, your mindset changes, your habits change, your lifestyle changes, your show up rate changes. Now you have tools that you can use. And now those tools that you can use release what's supernaturally in you to get you from here to there, wherever that may be for you. Case in point, you can now, instead of cause and effect, you cause the effect that you want. Why? Because you have a higher degree of consciousness, you have a higher degree of awareness. And now, instead of going along things with see, hear, smell, taste, touch, you go along with what is my intuitive state revealing to me, because I trust that more. What am I perceiving? My perception. What am I feeling that's drawing me towards something or compelling me to stay away from something? Because my trust in my inner being, in the inner voice, is greater than sometimes the voices that we actually hear on the external part, meaning they, them, those, and others say, we want you to do this, that, and the other, more so than you want to do the thing it is that you want to do, but you know that you should do the thing that you don't want to do, even though you think you should do it because the outcome will be better for you. That's the thing that you do. And the outcome is better for you because that's your inner guidance showing you and revealing to you the thing to do. A little whisper. It's not loud, because this is where the will comes in. My will to do greater, my will to express myself more is my dominant factor. I trust me more than I would trust the external person that's saying, trust me. See, it's about the love that I have for myself, which is greater. And I know that I'm not going to put myself in harm's way, nor will I allow anyone else to put me in harm's way as well. That's the point about what this actually is. And I know it sounds like it's a whole lot of stuff. And for all intended purposes, it is a lot of stuff, because we're talking about operating, governing yourself from the inner court, from the inner being that guides and directs your life, which is associated to source, God, universe, whatever way it is that you want to put it. It's that connection to the greatness. When you allow yourself to become the creator, because the creator dwells within. And how can you not create if the creator dwells within? The question is what are you listening to? What's got your attention so sidetracked that you're not willing to pay attention to the inner voice that you actually hear, which is guiding you along the path of your life? Let's take a look at that. All right, so the idea of light body activation. Let's see what this actually says. Is a concept associated with spiritual and metaphysical practices. Its benefits are believed to be primarily related to one's spiritual and emotional well-being rather than physical health. There are attributes to it that contribute towards your physical health as well, and we'll talk about that in this next part. It's important to note that the concept is not supported by scientific evidence. Of course, they have to dispel this because it's not a continual thing, but there is science evidence that does support this and backs this in certain capacities in certain ways. And the research definitely shows this, okay? So its effects that this concept is not supported by this are considered subjective and may vary from person to person, because it does vary from person to person. Everybody doesn't embrace this the same way. And it's your own experience, it's your own journey, it's your own unique position that you would so-called being exposed to while you're in light body activation. Here are some ways in which proponents suggest the light body activation can actually help. As far as spiritual growth, light body activation is also often seen as a path to spiritual growth and higher consciousness. Just reiterated that. The practitioners believe that by activating or awakening the light body, they can access deeper spiritual insights, true, wisdom, and a greater sense of connection to the universe or divine. Universe or divine, universal God, universal energy, your preference. You fill it in. What is it connecting you to? And that's what the opportunity is for. Emotional well-being. Listen, let's face this. We've all suffered some type of emotional trauma from the time that we were children to the time that we were adults through our relationships and interactions with people who we've associated with for one reason or another. Some childhood traumas may still be present in adults, and that's okay. That's fine. Not a problem with it, as long as it doesn't hinder you from becoming the best version of yourself. Meaning, if you're stuck in betrayal, if you're stuck in fear, if you're stuck in, people treating you in a way that's subpar, not loving you because you don't love yourself. And since you don't love yourself, you allow yourself not to be loved by the people who say that they do. And you can't really differentiate between the two because you just want somebody to pay attention to you. So you accept less and less and less, as opposed to not accepting anything greater or anything less than what it is that you would expect for yourself. Let's put it in that term, okay? So let's look at this emotional well-being. Some individuals report experiencing increased emotional tolerance and well-being as a result of like body activation practices. This may include reduced stress, anxiety, and a greater sense of inner peace and happiness. Let's stop right there. Let's talk about the biology of the body, okay? Now, it's important to understand that the biology of the body is impacted by stress. That's scientific. That can be proven. Let's take a look at this. This just said that it's the opportunity to reduce stress in your body. How does that happen? Meditation, calmness, increased sense of peace, a sense of well-being. All of these attributes are attributed to the light body awakening, light body activation. I don't care what you call it. You can call it whatever it is that you want. I'm just explaining what my light body experience has been. And if you've been growing through the same type of experience, then more than likely you've had a light body awakening as well. Look, let's face it. There were all kinds of terms that people associate from one thing to the next thing. And I get it. I understand that. I was in flight or doubt or disbelief about my experience too, because I didn't understand it. And when you don't understand something, what do? We flee from it. We run from it. But what I decided to do was face everything and rise. I didn't run away from it. I embraced it. And when I embraced it, it made things clear. Now, here's the thing that's so important to understand about this embracing things so that it's clear for you. When you embrace something like this, trust me, things will come. And things are going to come to challenge you to see how you're going to respond or how you're going to react. We have an opportunity through the light body awakening to shift from reacting to responding. When you shift from reacting to responding, the response is at a higher degree of consciousness. The reaction is that lower state. If you think about a sphinx that sits out in Africa, it faces the east and catches the sun as it rises into the day. It's the animalistic instincts, which is the lower part of the body, which is the lion's body sitting out in the front. And there's a human head over it. What is that symbolic of? It's symbolic of the human intellect over the lower desires of the animalistic desires of self. All right. You don't believe me? Check it out. It's in the books. I read a lot. Okay. People don't think I do, but I read a lot. I didn't even tell you how many books it is that I read simultaneously. But they say if you want to hide information from a people, put it in a book because we don't read. Well, I broke that mystery down and I read as much as I possibly can. And I encourage you to read as well, which is the reason why I'm reading from here. And I'm giving you the same information that I've acquired, and it is in a PDF and you can have it. And I keep talking about it. And if you want it, show some interest and I'll definitely get it to you. That's all. So we understand that there's a piece that comes from, again, being in that meditative state. Let me go back into the meditative state and what happens when you allow yourself to get into meditation. When you get into meditation, there are 4 states of consciousness that I want to bring to your attention, 4 mindsets that go along with this. One is beta. And in beta, you're paying attention to every single thing that's going on. There's the noise, there's the horns, that's the trains, that's the people in the street screaming and yelling. That's every bit of information that you can possibly take in, all the visual things that you see in your eyesight, an abundance of information going on simultaneously, the wind, the leaves dropping because this is the fall time of the year, the people going and coming, hustling and bustling, that's beta. All right. Alpha is that state of consciousness where the subconscious part of the mind is open to suggestion. It's the sweet spot that we get into when it's time for us to learn something, especially when we're in that meditative state. What's important to understand is that the mind doesn't see in words, the mind sees in images and pictures. That's how it works. That's how it is. I'm just a what you call a creator in this whole thing. And I'm explaining to you stuff that wasn't explained to me, because when I really started getting a grip on this stuff, it just made perfect sense. Visualization board, affirmations or words that we speak to ourselves that have to penetrate past the brain barrier right over here and go a little bit deeper, depending on the core trauma that a lot of people actually have in the brain. And we can talk more about that stuff as we go along. But basically, it's really just about seeing what actually happens on the mind, the screen of your mind, from the occipital lobe in the back of your head. I'm not going to make this really technical. I'm going to keep it nice and simple for you, because there's a lot of technical terms I can throw at you as far as the brain is concerned and its operation, but that's not what this is really about. Right now, we're just going over the light body experience and to get a better understanding of it. So you don't have, so you can face it and you can go with it and you can be the better version of yourself because you have a higher degree of consciousness. All right. So again, going back into those 4 domains that I'm speaking, as far as states of consciousness, as far as beta is one, that's the first one. Alpha is the next one, where we kind of open up to suggestion. Auto suggestion is where that pretty much comes in. You're at a state where things are kind of slowed down just a bit. And there were different frequencies that the brain actually operates when you're in these different states of consciousness. The next one after alpha is theta. And at theta, you're kind of sleeping, almost sleeping. Some people kind of slip into theta and they just kind of doze off and go to sleep. But when you're in your meditative state, it's best to kind of slow the brain down, because you close your eyes and you start to focus. Now, some people have a hard time, because there's so many different thoughts that they actually have in the mind. Cognitive dissonance is the chatter that you actually hear in your brain. It's continuously going on. I get that stuff too. But when you start to really meditate and start to really focus on the silence, the stillness, and the solitude, then you learn how to isolate that stuff off and get into the oneness, and you quiet things down and you slow things down. And then you look on the visual from the occipital lobe in the back of your head on the screen that you want to project these images, that you see yourself doing the things it is that you do in full sensory. What is full sensory? Based on this, see, hear, smell, taste, touch, until you get to those higher degrees of consciousness where it's intuition, perception, memory, reason, will. And those things are the things that we want to attach to our vision. So we have an inner vision where we see ourselves doing something. What do I mean by seeing ourselves doing something? You've heard of a vision board. Yep. Some people may have even heard of a mind movie, which is the next step of a vision board, where you actually take the visions that you see in pictures. You may see yourself living in a home. Like I've always seen myself. I'll share this one with you. I don't be sharing all my stuff with everybody because people don't want to see you successful and happy. So I don't usually share it, but I'm going to share this one with y'all because it's okay. But when I close my eyes and I see this particular vision on the screen of my mind, and the thing that is that I see is from my bedroom, I'm looking at the sun rising each morning. There's sea, there's water that's out there, there's a calmness that comes up. I'm thinking about how it is that I actually feel during this particular moment as I'm awakening and as the sun is rising up into the day, and how I feel within my being, my joy, my happiness, my gratitude, my appreciation, my compassion, the care that I have for myself. And that moment of manifestation is that I'm actually here. I'm in that space and I'm in that place, and I can see it, I can feel it. I can hear the sea moving back and forth, moving in and out, the ebbs and flows of the water coming back and forth. Not crazy and wild and rushing in, but I just hear it moving in and moving back out. And that calmness that's actually in that space, I can feel the light of the sun coming up into the room on the day. And again, it's almost so much that you can almost taste the salt from the sea as you start to wake up and step into your day. And this is before you even think about getting up. It's just that whole exciting feeling, that to know that throughout the course of your life, this vision that you had in your mind's eye, you can see it. You can smell it. You can smell the sea. You can taste it. And then, of course, you can see it and you can feel it. The greatest thing about that is to feel the warmth of the sun as it hits your body, or hits my body in this particular case. And think about how that warm sun is charging up the body for the day's activities. That's how I feel, like I'm being charged up by the rays and the energy of the sun that's greeting me and I'm greeting it. And we have work to do by shining our light on the people who it is that we have an opportunity to interact with and be our oneness, because there's no separation between the two. And in that moment, I'm joyful and I'm bliss. And it's just that quietness. And I'm with who it is that I choose to be with, and who chooses to be with me is with me as well. And it's about a shared oneness. And in that shared oneness, it's identical. And when you can share your love that you have with yourself with another who loves themselves, and you put those two pieces of love together, ah, what an exciting time it is to be in that state and be in that place. And it's a beautiful experience to wake up like that every day. The fact is you go from the mind vision that you actually had, which was an image, and now you're living in the space and in the place that you've seen in your mind's eye, because you've learned how to manifest the thoughts and the ideas to become who you had to become in order to acquire the desire that you have within your heart. And that's what that expression is all about. Wow, I forgot about that. So again, for me, that was my vision. That's what I see in my mind's eye when I close my eyes and I calm down. It's not about anything else that's actually happening. It's in that moment, in my now. You can't tell me that there's any difference between what's in my future or what's in my now right now, because it's all one and the same. It's just about who I am in the interim to become who I must become in order to acquire the thing it is that I truly desire. And this is for me where the light body activation resonates. And there's a frequency. And when you get on that resonance of the frequency and that energy, you learn how to change what was into what is. You learn how to transmute something from what's not into what you need it to be. You learn how to shift and change things from the mindset of what's not possible for me to the mindset of what is possible for me. It's not about what doesn't work for me. It's more me focusing on what does work for me. I am not I'm going to be. I am as I stand right now. And when you have that activation and it turns on and that light illuminates, people start to gravitate towards you because your frequency has changed. And then the people who knew you as you were, they want to try to pull you back into being that person that you were. And that's not conducive to the light that shines bright within you, because the light that shines bright within you is not just for you, it's for others who need to see the light so that they can turn on too. And then people will start to ask you, I don't know, there's something different about you. And I want to know what you're doing because I want that too. How did you get to be this way? And a lot of times people aren't willing to go through the stress, strain, and struggles that you've gone through, and nor should they have to, because they were your stress, strains, and struggles to grow through them to become who it is that you are in this moment. And I often think about if I had the opportunity to change a situation, a circumstance from what was, which I always had the opportunity to do, I just didn't remember that I knew how to do it. And now I do know. So guess what I do? I change it all the time because I can, because that's part of who it is that I am to do that, as well as you. So it's the emotional intelligence that you acquire once that fire is ignited within. And it's the light that shines bright within that illuminates the essence of higher consciousness for you to become and to be that you were designed to be. Okay. And that's the emotional part. So again, I went to beta, I went to alpha, I went to theta. And when you're in theta, you're just about right before delta where you're going to sleep. And when you're sleeping, you're more than likely dreaming about something, or you're in that state where things are just kind of calmed down. You might be snoring, arms tipped back, and you just in your bliss, just snoring away, carrying on and enjoying your sleep. Restorative sleep is the part where the body is rest. We want to consider that the parasympathetic nervous system, when the body is rest, digest, relax, and pleasure. When we're in the sympathetic nervous system, we're in fight, flight, freeze, or hide. And all we want to do is survive the moment. That's what it's all about. Get the threat out of this existence for me right now. My blood pressure's up, cortisol is released into the system. I'm running on adrenaline, the immune system is shut down. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out, how am I going to get through this situation? It's not about the saber-toothed tiger right now. It's about, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to pay my car payment? The debt collectors are knocking at the door. You don't want to open up the door. You don't want to answer the phone. Those are the things. So I'm bringing it to the practical application of what happens with that higher state of consciousness, when those situations and circumstances come upon you to challenge your growth and make you question who it is that you truly are. And oftentimes when the challenge comes and we're not really sure who it is that we are, we resort back to who it is that we knew ourselves to be, which wasn't conducive to life. Because we're not here just to pay bills and run around in debt. We're supposed to be free to choose to be who it is that we choose to be. That's what happens with the light body activation. I got another 2 things to say, and then I'm going to take 2 steps to the rear and get on up out of here. But check this out. This next part is enhanced intuition. And again, this goes right back into the same thing. So here's what it says. Proponents of light body activation often claim that it can be heightened one's intuition and inner guidance. Literally just said that a couple of seconds ago. Inner guidance. That can lead to better decision making. We just reiterated that same thing. And a stronger sense of inner direction. Here's the case in point. Instead of cause and effect, you get to cause the effect that you want. I am a creator. Notice how I said that. I am a creator. I create the life that I choose to live with the people who I choose to live it with. You can't just show up knocking at my door talking about I'm here without the invitation from me to come inside my life. And if you had that invitation before and I allowed you to come in and you ran and wrecked shop all up in my place, what makes you think I'm going to invite you back in? Guess what? There's no vacancy at this end. And I don't have any shame saying it. There is no vacancy at this end up in here. And I mean that seriously. And again, I go back and I talk about my experiences, and everybody has their own. I'm only sharing with you where it is that I am right now, because there was a place in time where I wasn't able to do that because I was so concerned about acceptance. I couldn't even accept me. But once you accept you, and the light that shines bright turns on for you, and within that light that shines bright that turns on for you is the love of self, you cannot accept anything other. And I mean that seriously. There's no reason to. You don't have to, because it's not just about you. It is you. I'm just saying. So let your light shine bright and turn on. And it's all good. Don't worry about it. The people who are supposed to come will be magnetically attracted to you, because it's the heart that sends out this frequency. It's a pulse. And that frequency will, you step into a room, and when you step into that room, people will ask, who just stepped? They didn't even see you. Somebody just stepped up in here. You see somebody that steps up and there's just so much confidence. They just exude it. They just look like they know something that you need to know. Okay, those are the folks, except that they're not the folks. You're that person. And you embrace that. And you allow yourself to be all that you are. You accept yourself, good, bad, and different, shortcomings, longcomings. I don't have this, I don't have that, but my oneness allows me to just be at peace with me. That's where the party is, okay? Okay, so going back in and finish this enhanced intuition part, that stronger sense of inner direction, the synchronicities, the serendipitous moments, the thoughts become things. What you think about, you bring about. It's all possible for you because you're possible. It's no more impossible. It's I am possible to do all things, not some things, all things that I truly desire within the contents of my heart is what actually happens with this light body activation. I got one more for you, and I'm gonna let y'all get on your way. I don't even know what time it is. I don't know how long I've been talking. It might have been a half an hour already. I don't really know. But anyway, I'm gonna finish up with this. So this is the last one. Energy and vitality. It's believed by some that activating the light body can result in increased energy levels and vitality, as well as a sense of rejuvenation. Listen, cells turn into tissue. Tissues turn into organs. Organs are the systems of operation within the body, which make us whole. On a quantum level, there's energy. Always was, always will be, can never be destroyed, always moving in and out of form. On our cellular level, we have something that's called a mitochondria in the cell. Yes, I have to go here for 1 second, but I'm going to come out. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, all right? So if we can change the genetic information that's in the genetic code through epigenetics, we have energy associated to source energy. We get to reprogram our cellular structure in the body. Telomeres in the body start to elongate. The end caps on the telomeres start to sustain that longevity for life. You look great, feel great, you think great because you are great. And we have the opportunity epigenetically to shift our body from what was to what we want it to truly be. That thought of, I'm not really who I think I am, I'm something greater, is a thought away. We want to change the body and live with sustainability and live the quality of life that you were designed to live. Not that we have to think that, the end is near. But friends I talk to, it's not about the chronological number of how many years I've been in existence in this plane. It's about living from the biology of self. And you have an opportunity to change the biological structure of your body with the food that you consume, the energy that you exert, the people that you hang around. You ever heard of an energy vampire? Well, they're alive and they're kicking and they well. And those are the type of people that come up and just drain your energy. And then it takes a period of time to restore that energy in the parasympathetic nervous system, rest, digest, relax, and pleasure. And it's important to really understand what those shifts are all about. And why are you entertaining? It's been said, nah, don't get upset with me because I'm just telling you this stuff. If you entertain a clown, you're part of the circus. All right. So don't entertain the clown and don't be part of the circus. And if you don't like the circus, then don't bother going and entertaining the clown. All right. What I want you to understand is this. You have an opportunity through light body activation to enhance the quality of your life, to turn on your love light and be the best version of yourself just by activating this light body. There's different ways to do it. We can talk more about those different ways. My way that I did it was just through breath work. Alignment of my energy centers in the body and I'll go over what those energy centers are. And here's an extra one. This is a kicker for you, okay? A lot of times people have pains in their joints and their bones and their this and their that. It's emotional trauma trapped into the body. All right. Emotional trauma trapped into the body. When we have pain in our knees, we have pain in our shoulders, pain in our back. Each of those different pains are associated with some type of emotional trauma within the body that has not been released. We got to understand how energy functions and operates in the body. We have to understand how to move things in and out of form from one thing to the other. And we've got to learn how to create alignment within the body between the heart and between the brain. That's what this Light Body podcast is all about. How do we identify what the energy is in the body? How do we learn how to change things from what was to what we want it to be? And what is the experience that we actually have between this heart and this brain and the alignment? Okay, so listen, I don't know how much time this was today, but I hope it wasn't too long because you're still here. I just want to say, listen, thank you for showing up today. This is episode number 2 that we got down in here. I trust and believe that you got something from this. If you didn't get anything from this, show up at the next one and I promise you'll get something from that one, or go back to the first one and you'll get something out of that one. Maybe this was just one that just didn't resonate with you, but guess what? It's okay because it did resonate with someone who needed to hear this today. And you got to understand something. Everything is not for you. Sometimes there's something that you get with or get to that's for somebody else that you know. You can turn somebody else on. Listen, it's a simple thing. That wasn't good for me, but maybe this is good for you. So share it. Share this with someone else if it didn't make sense for you. That's what I encourage you to do. I challenge you to share this with someone else if it didn't resonate with you. However, if it did resonate with you, guess what I want you to do? You got it right. Share it with somebody else and let them know this guy came on. This guy, Clyde Rush. I don't know who this guy was. I don't know who he is, but I think I want to check him out and see what's going on. And I'm just sharing it. Just share it with one other person. That's all you got to do. And let somebody else know. Turn on somebody else's light with your bright light. That's that high degree of consciousness that we just spoke about. So again, just to keep it real short and reiterate, spirituality to metaphysics, that's part of this. The idea of the light body activation is what I just went over. Spiritual growth, emotional well-being, enhanced intuition, energy, and vitality for the body. Okay, that's what we went over today, plain and simple. It may have sounded like it was some of the stuff that you actually heard in the first one, and it's okay, but I know what we went through today. And what we went through today was what we were supposed to go through today, because if we weren't supposed to go through it, synchronicity and serendipitous moments wouldn't allow it to happen. All right. So with that being said, listen, as always, peace, blessings, prosperity, and abundance to each and every single one of you. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you later on. One love to each and every single one of y'all. Light Body Podcast. I'm out. Love y'all. Peace.